So I constantly have people coming into my stream or in the YouTube comments section asking me if I can do a roads guide. And my God, I can't believe I'm actually doing this today. Let me tell you a story quickly. So about 2 years ago, maybe like a year and okay, probably about 2 years ago, right? About 2 years ago, I actually already made a guide in roads. Now, this guy is constantly annoying me, trying to get himself in the shot, so we're just gonna stand here. I don't know what he's think he's doing. But I had already actually made a guide, a complete guide, kind of like we're gonna do today. But what ended up happening is within like the week I was gonna post that video, SBI turned around and said, oh, we didn't tell you guys, but we're actually updating the roads entirely. So I had finished off that video. It took me like 3-4 days to edit. It was a really in-depth guide, like I said. And then they changed the roads entirely. They updated it. I deleted the video. I thought to myself, there's no point. And then everybody complained about the new roads changes. So then they reverted to roads back how they were before. So around about a week of my life was wasted because SBI are indecisive and don't know what people want. But I'm fairly globally known as being probably one of the best, or at least one of the most knowledgeable roads players out there. I mean, whenever we play with other creators or whenever other creators get asked who to go for guides, everybody just bombards me. So, you know, I like it. It's kind of like being the most prolific pedophile in the play park because, you know, there's not really much good about it, but you know, apparently you're up there. So yeah, I'm kind of going to go through everything, and I'm even like, we're going to talk about all sorts here. I'm going to talk about the roads themselves. I'm going to talk about roads builds. To be honest, that's, you know, I got this scripted and that's the first two things that came to my mind, and then my mind went blank. So I actually, what? We're going to talk about like mobs rotations. We're going to talk about like actual PvP. We're going to talk about the PvE. We're going to talk about how to clear the chests, where to find the best chests. We're going to try and do everything, where to make money, where to fame, where you can find tier 8 roads. So now I just want to say off the bat, if this video is useful to you and you enjoy this type of content, because I hate recording it, be sure to go down to the comment section. You see where it says like, dislike, share, all that type of thing. Swipe to the right on there and click hype. Use your hype points to promote this video and help promote me and my channel. If there's something that you want to see in the future or you found useful and you just want to show your appreciation. This should be as much information as my little brain can handle right now and can think of on the spot to make this video. If you've got any questions, come over to my Twitch and just ask them. Even if you don't want to sit on Twitch, you can just ask it. I can reply and then you can f off like the rest of them. But if I've forgotten anything, don't blame me. I'm, you know, just doing this off the top of my head. I'm going to do what realistically is probably the most important things to know. And if anybody in the comment section tells you that something's wrong, tell them that they're wrong, because I've played roads for about 3 years and I'm certain I know better than every goddamn player in the game. And that's not me being cocky. That's not me blowing my own bell end off. This is me just saying it's the only content I play in the game. If there is something that I've gotten wrong, I will comment underneath it. So if you see someone's comment here, I can't imagine it's going to happen, but if you see someone comment and they're like, oh, actually, T-Banj, this is the way it is, and then I realize, oh, you know what, they're right, I will comment underneath it and say, you know what, you're right. But for the most part, that's not going to happen. So we're going to start this out with the basics, right? So we're going to start this out with the basics. There are 4 main ways to get into the roads. The 5th way is through mists, but don't worry about that. It's not important at all. Who cares? 4 main ways to get into roads: blue zone, yellow zone, red zone, black zone, and also Brazilian. Okay, now I realize that's 5, but blue zones and yellow zones have the exact same road connections. Now, blue zones and yellow zone roads aren't actually blue zone and yellow zone. If you hear me today say red zone roads, because somebody commented about this, when I say red zone roads, it's not that the roads themselves are red zone, it's that that's the location to find them. But okay, blue zone, yellow zone roads are always tier 4. Red zone roads are always tier 6, and black zone roads are also always tier 6. Now, if you go in from Brazilian, there is around about 16 different choices of roads for that specific day. and that refreshes on maintenance, which is why sometimes if you go from Brazilian, you'll end up going into the same road over and over and over again. It's around about 16, round about 20, something round about there. It doesn't matter. Who gives a shit about the numbers? Now, blue zone and yellow zone roads are the sort of roads you go into to practice, okay? Tier 4, they also have a lot of gathering spots. They have blue chests, so you can go in with small groups. It's basically the easiest way to go in and practice roads. Predominantly, this is where you're going to find the groups that aren't fully established as small-scale teams yet. More, I would just call them group of friends with random builds. And it's also where you're going to find the most players in actual fact, because if I go out from Fort Sterling and I say, oh, I'm going to play roads today, you know, I've got 3 different maps I can choose from. Also, another thing quickly, tier 3 and tier 2 maps obviously do not have roads in them. I just figured I'd mention that for some reason. Now, the red zone roads is where you should be going if you are entirely focused on PvP as a solo player, but also PvE as a solo player. The red zone roads have 6 maps that all have 8 or more chests on them. And when I say chests, I mean green chests, obviously. And before I put this video out, they were pretty empty. The moment I put this video out, I know all of you are going to rush to red zone roads, but they are the best money-making roads in the game. They have the most green chests, and they have the least amount of small-scale and ganking teams and all that type of shit. It's just the best place to go if you want to make money. If I'm low on money, I just go red zone roads, and I just spam them out for 2-3 hours, and I've got 20-30 million to my name. Now, the black zone roads are mostly used for small scale teams, gold chest teams for PvE and shit like that, and gathering. You won't find that many solo players out here because there are so many roads to choose from. It's technically safer, but because of the fact that there's small scale teams and stuff like that around and about, it's more likely to be the experienced players that if you are a solo player, they're going to catch you out and you're not going to have any chance. And with the nerfs to Hellion Jacket and Focus Fire Protection, I basically try and avoid black zone roads as much as possible. A lot of people always ask me why I'm always going in from yellow zone, blue zone, and red zone, and it's because not only am I going to find fights where I can actually deal with it now because of the nerfs to Hellion Jacket and Focus Fire Protection, I can wear lower tiers and still compete, but also there's just a lot more players, and it just means that there's a lot more content. And obviously the last choice, like I said, is Brazilian. Brazilian can take you into any road in the game. There's no real like yes or no about that. It's just whatever they pick for the day. Although one thing I don't know, I do not know if it can take you into tier 8 zones, which is what I'm going to talk about now. Now, the only way to get into a tier 8 zone that isn't a raid zone, the gold portal made for 20 people, is through a deeper road. I'm not going to tell you what the names of the deeper roads are because you're not really going to understand, but it's like FA, SA, SO, what have we got? TO, HE, I don't even know anymore realistically because they've changed all of the names of the roads around so much. Well, they changed what the roads were. Now, a few months ago, I would have been able to tell you what is in every single road, whether it was a hideout zone or just a normal road, tier 8, tier 6, tier 4. I could tell you every single road. Now, with the way they have changed it, each road, the name is meaningless now. So I don't really recognize anything. Plus the fact that they changed everything that was in those roads, I don't really recognize as much anymore. So I know every single royal road. I know what's in OU, like guaranteed. But in reality, the only thing that you need to pay attention to with the name of the road, and it's really not even that important, is the first letter O. I don't even know why I'm doing this because in actual fact, it is not important in any way. But if I press the N map, the gold road looks like an O. That's basically it. That's all it means. And the rest of the name now of the map doesn't mean anything anymore. Some things remained, but not really. So like this road's actually like kind of an exception because for once I'm wrong, but I'm also not wrong. The TUM at the end of umutum basically means, oh god, if I get this wrong, I'm gonna need to look this up, but if I get this wrong, the TUM is a large hide spot. See that big old hide spot in the middle? That's what the TUM means. It means that that's something that's in there. Now the thing is, like I say, the names don't matter anymore. They've changed it all around. They've pissed around with it. It's not even worth looking at. Every road now is pretty much random, no matter what road you go into. Now, like I say, the only way to get into a tier 8 road is through either a gold portal, if that's what you're looking for, a raid zone. But because this is predominantly going to be towards solo players, you're not going to want to go anywhere near there in reality anymore. So a tier 8 zone you will find through a deep road connection. Right now, don't even worry about if you find one or if you don't. Just play the roads. It isn't important. Who cares? Now, for builds, okay, I do not give a shit what you want to play. A lot of people constantly ask me, what's the best build for this? What's the best build for that? I can't tell you what you're going to enjoy. Guys, as much as I get pissed off and bored of this game, it's still a sandbox. I can't tell you what's right and what's wrong, because if I tell you something, you're going to be like, oh, but I don't like that weapon. Maybe Albion's just a shit game. It doesn't work like that. What I can do is I can recommend beginner, intermediate, and expert sort of guidelines, okay? Now, if you're planning on getting into roads and you're planning on going to a tier 4 zone, my recommendation, and you know what you can do if you want, is run a guardian helmet, a mercenary jacket, and any plate boots on rejuvenate and sprint. But again, I don't give a shit what you play. That's not my problem. The only reason I say this is if you are getting into tier 4 roads, you want guardian helmet, because I know you're going to struggle against the Avalonian warrior. You know that big guy with the 2 Oathkeeper mace thingies that smashes you and then he goes big? Like, you're going to struggle against that. You need guardian helmet. It's also useful in tier 4 roads because there's a lot of curse staffs and a lot of like explosive goddamn damage, and guardian helmet in actual fact is probably one of the easiest helmets to run in the world. You can just press it at any point during the fight and I'm sure it's going to be useful. And judicator boots are basically if you're lower tier and you're going to struggle against certain mobs. I would never recommend doing this, but if for some bizarre reason you need that extra 122 health, it's there for you. Now, for tier 4 roads, I wouldn't really ever recommend going any higher than 4-2, 4-3, okay? Tier 4, Enchantment 2, Tier 4, Enchantment 3. Yeah, I got that right. But one thing I can definitely recommend, and I don't see enough people doing this, and it's actually going to piss me off because every time I make a meta in roads, I have to swap what I'm doing to try and counter my own goddamn meta. If you're planning on doing PvE and PvP with basically any build, you should be running either Avalonian beef stew or Avalonian mutton stew, okay? Regen, out of combat, plus damage. It's the most useful thing considering the roads are technically endgame mobs and they hurt. If you get caught with your pants down, you haven't got your mob up, you haven't got your mount up, and somebody walks in on you, you've got no health, you can't reset, well, this gives you a chance to reset and actually be able to fight back. Now, obviously, that food isn't going to be useful on, like, every single build, but the only builds I can kind of say it's not really going to be that useful on are, like, Fire Staff and Frost. And a big recommendation, if you're playing solo roads, don't play Fire or Frost. You look like a fucking idiot. Now, for Potion, it's going to kind of depend on your build. So I'm not really going to go too in-depth on this one. One thing I will always say to bring is either tier 4 or tier 6 poisons, okay? Because there are certain times where you're going to struggle with the mobs. And an extra 450 true damage is kind of useful, I won't lie. If you're rich and you're going like a little bit more expensive, you're playing tier 6 or tier 8 roads, whatever you're trying to do, tier 8 poisons, 1.2k true damage, it's fucking huge. I pretty much always bring out poisons. Even me at this point, I pretty much always bring out poisons as like as a swap potion. God, my brain is not working today, but I'm trying to do my best here. So again, you can pretty much run whatever you like in roads. I really do not care. And like the beauty of and the reason why I actually love playing roads is because of this reason. I have taken out some of the top teams in the game, solo or in a group, and I have died to some of the shittest groups in the game. Because of the fact that roads have no real meta, there's certain things that will just catch me out. And it's the beauty of it. Like, teams can run the most random builds, and because you're not used to it, you don't expect certain things. And there's so many different situations and scenarios in the game that my personal favorite build for roads, and what I think is one of the best builds for roads, is this Bloodletter build right here. Avalonian Beef Stew, Healing Potion, Torch, Avacape, Merc Hood, Stalker Jacket, Cleric Sandals, Bloodletter. That's my personal favorite build, but there are certain builds and certain situations where, even though I know personally that that is realistically the best PvE, PvP build you can run for roads in the current state and time, there are still builds that I've died to in 1v1s, and that will catch me out because that's what roads are like. And that's honestly the beauty of it. You can be as creative as you want with the roads. You can come up with these goofy builds. Once you start to know what you're doing, you can come up with goofy builds on your own or with your friends, and you can actually just compete. So yeah, I constantly die to really dumb shit all the time. That's just a given. Like, the roads will just treat you like that. Like, you guys have seen me pull off like 1v15, 1v20 fights in the roads, and you've also seen me die in like 1v2s to the same tier, same sort of shite, same like player skill, but just one little switch up in the build and my brain just meh. So because of the fact that I don't really care what I'm running, I'm going to be using a no spec spear, because I'm going to presume in my head that the people asking questions and people asking me about guides for roads are more than likely the people that have no spec and shouldn't belong in roads anyway. Now, at this tier, for tier 4 roads, you're running 4.2. I would always recommend at least a tier 4 horse or a stag. That's basically what I would always go for, like, mount-wise. And now, for something like the more mid-level players, these are the people that are going to be going, like, specifically into tier 6, dabbling into the tier 8 roads. You're going to want to be ready for not only outnumbered fights, but also, if you're playing roads and you're not gathering, then I don't know what you're doing. So, invis potions are pretty much essential. At this point, let's just presume that you're not doing ganking, but you're playing for outnumbered fights, but also the chess, PvP, but also when you are gathering, you're not trying to fight back. You're basically, or you're not trying to gank people gathering, you're basically just trying to fight back. Now, at this point, obviously, siphoned energy is kind of essential. The build hasn't changed that much, but in reality, mercenary hood or even a fiend cow at this point is basically where you go for either interrupts, damage reduction, slow so you can catch people if you're playing like a lower mobility build, or as an extra direct damage boost for your mercenary jacket to try and not get yourself purged. And more expert level players, this isn't going to really change that much, but you pretty much want to always be playing with Helmet of Valor. And now this is if you're going into pretty much constantly tier 6, tier 8 zones. Your pretty much sole intention is to gank like large chests, blue chests, or just do outnumbered fights like 1v5, 6, 7, 8, whatever entirely. Now for intermediate and both expert, you pretty much always want an undead cape, because it's at the point where losing your gear for the sake of 200,000 cape is just not, like, it's not worth. You'd rather just take the risk on them not having a stalker hood, them not having a purge, and you being able to escape and keep your gear, right? Like, I'm worth 2 million right now on this build. And now I've got gigapots on me. Obviously, you'd never use a gigapot with a blood moon. I kind of just put blood moon on for the sake of signifying outnumbered fights. But gigapot is probably 90% of what you want to be using as a solo player. Have healing potion swaps, your poison potion swaps, and like always, same thing again, Avalonian Beef Stew. The build doesn't really change that much, but the mindset does. Also, another pretty essential one I just forgot about, Tornado in a Bottle. If you're running higher tier, planning on doing outnumbered fights, and your plan is to fight around mobs, because in reality, with Focus Fire Protection nerf, you need to use mobs now. If you don't have Tornado in a Bottle, no matter what build you're playing, you've already failed. You're not going to be able to compete at like the level that a lot of us are. All right, I got the intro part out the way. That took about 25-30 minutes. Now we actually get into the roads. I'm going to try and go through every single mob I can. Basically, the whole goal of this is to try and like go through every single mob and show how to do all the mobs. I'm sort of going to teach you my mindset during PvP as well. Like I'm going to actually try and talk while I fight and give you the idea of what I'm looking for, whether I win or I lose, whatever. Going to give you the idea of what I'm actually looking at when I'm fighting, when I inspect someone, what like my play is. So right. There's a few chests in roads or even spots that are just absolute death traps. You see those two guys came from here? If I was down here at the time doing this chest, look how far out I would need to go to actually escape. I basically, if I was on that chest, I'm dead. Like guaranteed. Already, I've seen 2 dead bodies coming from it. It is like the worst option for a solo player you could choose. There's like a hide spot like that. There's a few green chest spots like that. They're basically just like a silver sink for Albion, those spots. That's basically what they are. Like, they are the riskiest shit in the world for like somebody who doesn't have a clue what they're doing to go down. And it's absolutely pointless to even go down there. Like, no matter what, taking the risk for it is just annoying. If it's like 4 or 5 a.m., go for it. If it's during prime time, I can pretty much guarantee you that because of your luck, somebody's going to turn up at that exact point. So this chest in particular, when you have a pack of 4 green chests, the chest that is the most north, the most cornered one, the best and most efficient way to do it, okay? Run through the chest, run all the way up here behind this drone, mount, dismount, whatever. You've now leashed every single mob on the chest and only have this one to do. So, if you have ears, or even fucking eyes for that matter, if anybody wants to gank you, they have to come in from the sides. And you're going to hear the drones, you're going to hear the mobs activate. Same thing here. If for some reason I'm like, you know, there's that pack of like 3 mages in the middle there, and they're just pushing my shitbox in. If I run over to this corner, everything leashes. It's probably like one of the most useful things you can ever know while doing this chest. And so many people don't know it. As well as the last mobs besides the boss that you want to clear, you leave these mobs for last. Now, the reason you do that is because escaping through this side on the south side, once these mobs are cleared and you're not getting sniped, Monk, bro, welcome to being an Albion streamer where you can't even go 10 minutes into making a guide before people snipe you. Great. Okay, so as I was saying, and I mean, kind of luckily that you leave the side mobs for that situation, but if you were gonna try and escape, your best bet is to always escape out this side because of what's here. There is such a long pack of like nothingness here that you basically are never gonna have your like mob tagged, and you can always manage to reset. Whereas if you go out from this side, let's say like all these mobs have fucked me up, I'm not in a good situation, somebody's come in, they've dismounted on me while I'm doing the boss, and I run out from this side, not only am I gonna have that bullshit to deal with, but when I try and sprint through here, I've got mob, I'm stuck. And especially if these are all like humanoid mobs rather than drones, it's not a good situation to be in. I mean, this chest in reality isn't like that useful to know anything about it. It's probably like the most straightforward chest you can do, but it's also like one of the scariest because of the drones. The drones and their damage are actually just fucking wild. It's actually a lot of times whenever I have an outnumbered fight that I'm actually kind of scared of, a lot of times I bring them into these drones, because look at this. Look at that damage alone from 3 drones, which are like the least upgraded mobs in the goddamn roads. And that's how much damage they do. So yeah, if you can catch out a team and stun them, root them, throw them into that with a tornado pot, it's fucking nasty. It really is. It's so nasty. I didn't want to stream anyway, but like if we're if we're just going to snipe for the day, I'm just going to end stream. I don't need this. I'm only on to record a guide for YouTube. And this is what I get. So on this chest in particular, it's always going to be the corner chest with the 2 conduit drones like there, like that. This chest, you always start with whatever 2 mobs are standing here first. And why I'm... welcome to be a Albion creator. It's just Stream Snipe Central. Okay, go on in, dickhead. Congratulations. You've done it. You've really proven yourself to everybody. You always start with those 2 drones there, or these 2 drones on the, or 2 mobs on the wall here on the stairs, basically. Always do it like this, because if you think about it, if somebody's coming in from whichever side, I mean, kind of like that situation, it's kind of paid actor, but I can always come over here, and by the time I get to this, I've reset. The conduit drone isn't doing anything to me right now. He isn't hitting. He's going to take a while before he respawns. Obviously, if I had my food on, I'd already been back south. But this is your best way to escape out of. Always is your best way to escape out of. Whereas if you start on this side and somebody comes in from the north, south, east, wherever, and I'm trying to go through here, by the time I see them, I'm sprinting, I go here, I get hit, I've lost like half a second of my mount, and then also there's more than likely going to be a mage here, mob there. Like, it's just not a good situation to be in, I won't lie. It ain't a fun one. Cannot fucking stand when, like, it's just Albion audience, I swear down. If they would actually ban people for, you know, what they should be banning people for, we wouldn't have this problem. Do you reckon that guy's actually coming back? I get a weird feeling he's probably gonna come back. When Rhodes Gathering Guide? Oh, we've already done that one, boy. How many episodes was it? 7 episodes of just pure fucking torment. Actually is one of my most viewed videos, though. The 0 to Hero Gathering in Rhodes. It's got 94,000 views. I always, or like 90% of the time, I always, once I've killed these 2, once I've killed that drone right there, 90% of the time, I walk around and I kill this drone right here. Because if I'm fighting these drones, and again, the 3rd snipe of the session, like, what are we doing? Like, what? If I start with these 3 mobs, and the conduit drone is still there, the last thing you want to do is pull that, and he's going to summon his little ball, and it's just going to be, like, annoying as... almost annoying as this guy right here, who thinks he's doing something. It's just basically going to turn 3 mobs into 5 mobs for no reason, and if you don't deal with the conduit drone, then you're going to have 6 mobs, 7 mobs. It's just a piece of shit. But if you take that one out first, and then work on these 3 mobs, nice and easy. And then from there, you just have the boss on its own. This is probably, in actual fact, the easiest chest in all the roads to understand and actually do. No matter, like, what it is, you're only dealing with 2 acolytes, 2 lancers at most, 2 conduit drones, a heavy drone, and a boss. Like, that's it. That's all you're ever dealing with. Okay. This one's going to be quite good, actually. I'm going to do something that you should never realistically do when playing roads, and it is the most pointless thing, and I hope SPI listen to this, and I hope SPI get in contact with me again about roads changes, because these solo dungeons in roads are the shittest thing in Albion. I'll give you the reason why. This solo dungeon will stay open until I finish it, which you think, if you're looking for PvP, it's great. The reason why it's so shit is because this is a normal 4.2 solo dungeon. There is nothing special about it anymore. It is just entirely black zone, and it's a 4.2 solo dungeon. Back in the day, every solo dungeon in Rhodes that you saw was always 4.3 roundabout, and the loot was actually worth going in for. The loot was basically always going to be, you know, for a solo player back then, it was worth. Now, it's just a fucking death trap for no reason. Okay, Pathfinder Mage, I'm going to try and explain it as I go through it. So, as you walk up, you're going to have a beam. You're going to walk straight to the side the moment you aggro. Now, from this moment onwards, pump out as much damage as you can because she's going to start channeling, and every single time she channels that auto attack there, it's going to give her an extra stack, and her damage of that is going to go up with each stack. The other ability she has, you need to pay attention. Once you see the cone, you need to pay attention to which direction she's going to beam her around. So it's coming from top to bottom. Always pay attention. It's always going to be directly in a cone in front of where she is. Once she channels that one again, she gets more damage. You can see it's coming from right to left that time. Always, the moment you see that cone, you have to look at the direction of where it's coming from. It's really not that hard, but it actually catches a lot of new players out, a lot of like beginner roads players out every time. In reality, it's the only thing you need to focus on, but also when she is channeling her big cone attack, she has like a small circle around her feet that if you walk into, it's going to knock you back and it's going to deal damage. And if for some bizarre reason you're in a corner and you get knocked back into it and she is doing her ult, then yeah, you're basically fucked. Just always, when she's doing that, focus on walking, not hitting. Unless you know your range, then pretty straightforward task. Okay, I'll even come back to this one because I didn't like fully explain it before. I mean, it's just a showcase. It doesn't really matter anyway. But when this is casted, it's got that circle around it. Don't walk into it. Just don't. Avoid walking into it entirely. Because, I mean, for example, if I put myself in a corner here, I walk into this. Yeah. It's over. It's a dumb idea. That you don't want to look like me in that situation, basically. Because if somebody pulls up on me here, I'm getting my ass fingered. No, I don't want to get my ass fingered. I don't want my ass to be fingered. I want to avoid my asshole getting fingered, ideally. Can you use reflect on the boss beam? Yeah, you can. You can use reflect on any of the other bosses. As long as you don't try and reflect fucking lancers, because that's going to be a real bad mistake. Kind of forgot. T-Banj code, Albion store, use it. Give me money. Avalonian warrior. Probably, besides the archer for a solo player, is the most difficult mob to deal with. One big thing to remember is that all of his abilities are interruptible. So if I walk up to him here, I can interrupt that by knocking him up. Realistically, if you have a purge as well, you can purge his buff. So I'll kind of show what it looks like. It goes bigger. Once he's bigger, you can purge him. Fiend Cowl, Mage Robe, Helmet of Valor, One Hand Arcane E, you can purge it. It's easy. So if you are playing a One Hand Arcane, you can either just walk up, interrupt it with silence, or you can just purge it once it's fully up. Giggity. Now, if you interrupt this mob, his rotation will be different pretty much every time. The timing is also round about the same time, but different. For some reason, in my head, I kind of just know the timings, but I also mess it up. I'd probably showcase it now. So when I walk in, this would be my usual rotations. Interrupt. We're just going to pump out damage. Now I count about 10 seconds realistically in my head. I don't know what it's going to be. You can probably time it if you're watching a video. And around about now, yeah, I can shield from that, and that's why you have the Guardian helmet on. If you still have an interrupt as well, I'm going to poison point him because we brought it out for that. He's either now going to do another smash or he's going to go into next circle, but you can interrupt it no matter if it's a circle or a smash. Now I have no interrupt for this one. It's kind of if or whatever you want to do. It's whatever. Again, I'm not going to have anything up here, but that'll do. Easy. In my head, I kind of just know the timings. It's never going to be the same timing, and in reality, it's never going to be the same rotation. If you choose not to interrupt at the start, he'll more than likely do like big smash once, then instead of another smash, he'll probably go into big circle. It's kind of going to be depending on your build, what you go for, whether you even have an interrupt or whether you have a purge. It's going to be very dependent on that in reality. This is another example of like a spot. Now this is pretty specific, but like if you're ever going down to a spot like this as a dead end, I know this sounds so fucking straightforward to most people, but it's a death trap. It really is. Like, look, if I was dismounted right now, let's say I'm gathering, right? Let's say I'm doing a little bit of the goovering, and a player pulls up on me and I haven't got my mount, or let's say even if I do have my mount, if there's more than one player, by about this point, I'm dismounted. By this point, I'm fucking walking. And then from here, well, I mean, you're already dead by this point. Like, you're already dead. Unless you somehow manage to make it to the blue chest and get a nice little interrupt with a heavy drone, you're fucking dead. It's not happening. Just avoid the dead ends completely. I know it sounds really dumb. I know it sounds really obvious. But the amount of times people aren't looking at their map. And that's another thing. A lot of people constantly go on at me and ask me why I'm spamming my map. Number one, I'm autistic. Number two, I'm a fucking spastic. But number three, the main reason is because the best route for you to be able to change and get out of the road completely, it changes constantly. I don't know how I worded that. I don't think it was right. For example, if I see, for some bizarre reason, a small scale team here in front of me, where am I likely pathing to from here? If I'm panicking and I start running and I'm like, oh, I can't go that way. And I'm not looking at the map. So then I end up going this way. I'm like, okay, right, there's gotta be a way out here somewhere. I'm like, okay. Fuck. Okay, and now I'm back round where that goddamn team's seen me. And they've just followed me round like a pedo in a play park. And I look like a dick. Even if it's something like this situation here. If I go down this way, what is my fastest and best route to escape? That is a road. Okay? If I'm getting chased by direwolves, am I running this way while I'm on a stag and committing to another road? Or am I going to try and take the risk, catch them out, and go for one of these here? Blue zone, yellow zone, better option. In reality, obviously, it's going to depend where you are on the map. I mean, it's pretty retarded that I would run all the way to the other side of the map on a stag. But it's situations like that you always need to. In roads, it's probably the most important place to always know when you come into the map. Giggity. I don't know why, like, that's just not even perverted in any way. It's just weird. When you come in and you spawn into a map, like I'm going to do here with TU, I'll kind of showcase it for you. Always check and try and remember what your roads are and what your connections are. They can obviously change from the timer, but for the most part, depending where you are on the map and what you're doing at that time. So when I come into here, okay, we're in a red zone map. I've got a hideout there. Hideouts can be dead ends. So that's a fucking definite no-go. Broken Fell there. Flamir's Step there. I mean, if you know the maps, you already know, like, Broken Fell is probably the worst one to go to besides the hideout zone. FA is going to be your deep road anyway, so you're only going to have connections to other roads. You're never going to have an escape, but that's just something you learn over time. FA is just a deeper road. But for the most part, once I come into this map, I need to know what's what. Because if I'm on any of the chests and I decide, okay, I'm just going to run to the closest portal and I run to that hideout zone, 50-50 chance it's a dead end and I'm dead. It's pointless. Waste of time. For this chest, it's not really the biggest and most difficult thing in the world, all right? Admittedly, I'm killing drones right now, but the same thing would apply whether it's like humanoid mobs or drones. For me, I always come in and kill this mob first. Big reason why I do this is that if I'm in the middle of this chest right here and I'm killing everything around it, it is the easiest way and fastest way to escape. Let's say if I'm in this position here and somebody comes up from no matter where, the easiest way for me to kite out from, I mean, I'll showcase it. If I start sprinting towards this way, I've got mobs. Great. Lost my boots again. If I'm standing in the middle doing these mobs, for example, where we're like cha-cha-cha, we're like beating the shit out of each other, whatever. And then I come up from this way, I've got these drones to deal with. This is always going to hit me in the back of the head as well, most likely, unless I use my boots. The only reason I always clear that mob before, like no matter what I do, I always leave that one. And the way I do everything as well is back to front. I always kill that mob and then start here. Because if I start here on the last few mobs and, you know, you walk through and you don't get fucking violated, by the time I get over here, it's going to de-aggro anyway. And I start dealing with these mobs here, I actually have 3 escapes. I'm close enough for me to pop my boots and get through here without getting interrupted. And I've now escaped, okay? I've escaped that way. And if you know how to path, which I didn't really showcase, you can get past these heavy drones and you're going to block off the opponent from that way as well. Same thing goes if somebody comes from the south side. And to be fair, let me wait for my boots. If I see somebody coming from the south side while I'm doing those mobs, it actually is a good escape to go up this way as far as you can, then pop your boots, and I'm out. That player chasing me right there, they've been hit by the mobs already. They're not getting past the heavy drones. Heavy drones are always the biggest savior in the game. But the thing is if they're coming from the north side, your plan of escape is to always go out from this way. The reason is those drones are not only going to give you some protection, because when I start walking, those little knock-ups right there, if somebody's north of me, it gives you an extra second. But this is way more of an option to choose where you want to go from this situation. If they're coming fully from the north, you can sprint through the south side here. More than likely, heavy drone, you've blocked your path again. They're not getting through that. I mean, an archer being there's a little bit of a bitch. Also, same thing applies, is heavy drone is, well, you always have a heavy drone here roaming around, unless it's fully upgraded to a boss, or you always have a heavy drone here. It's the most common spawns for them. Same thing here. I have this option as well. I'm running through, like I've come down this way. I've seen a player come from the east, north, whatever. I realize, okay, they're coming directly northeast from me. They're basically where my spear is landed right there. I can now come through here. Done. Blocked off by the drones. I'm now out. They're not catching shit. Easiest fucking routes to escape. It's basically just like when you're playing roads, and especially like having the other beef stew on or having the mutton stew on, whatever, you always need to think about where your escape is. No matter if it's a small scale team, whether it's a solo and you actually want to fight back, you need to find a place where you can fully reset. And the same thing as if like I showed it down here. This is like absolutely perfect. This spot, when you're doing it from here, is absolutely perfect. Because I can sprint through. I can aggro here, pop round to the east side, and I'm out. They've been blocked off by the drones. By this point, I haven't been hit by anything. I've fully reset all my health. They've probably taken some damage trying to catch up, and now, like, you can finally fight back. It's simple things like that that a lot of people don't really think about. Like, they get ganked, and then they just fucking... For example, like, if I'm ever ganking somebody on this chest, they all panic, and they run up here. And I'm like, well... Number one, you've wasted your boots. Number two, unless you're fucking suicidal, you ain't jumping off that cliff for shit. It's not happening. You now have to walk back into me, and you have no boots, and you're panicking. You shit your pants, and you're gonna die. Like, it's a given at that point. What is he playing? Oh my god. Brum, You made a little shit. There will be no victimizing going on here. Hey, what the fuck? Is that my G? Jija Niger EU. the Jija Niger EU. Why are you lot like this? I want to know who that is. I mean, it's kind of a personal thing, but I kind of, most of the time, try and dismount before I get to chests. And luckily, I mean, okay, those two lancers aren't really in the right place, but that's fine. Whenever I dismount or whenever I run up to chests, I usually dismount because I don't want to piss around with cooldowns. I want to try and catch somebody out while they're low, if they are low. It's kind of like a personal thing though. Like if you're confident enough in PvP to go about it, great. If not, then yeah, don't do it. Walk up, see if they're low. If you trust yourself, dismount far enough away. But that's just kind of a given in Albion in general, honestly. Now, with the Avalonian Knight, a lot of people will always tell you to stand on top of it. I'm very mixed, and the big reason is, well, I'll tell you the big reason. If this mob has been pulled and leashed already, more than likely a bug has been activated where if you stand on top of it, it's going to knock you down. The bug is, and it's not really like worth too much, but just for like knowledge, it basically double casts its sword while only casting one. And it bugs itself out, and if you stand on top of it, it knocks you down. The first one he's going to do is instant. You can sort of walk up to him, then walk away, and you don't even have to get hit by anything. Here, go through a rotation every single time of auto-attacking you while he's doing it, and then not auto-attacking you while he's doing it. If I stand on top of him, within the next auto-attack, if he would, he'd cast it. Why is he gone? Well, that's just ruined what I said entirely. For some reason now, he's not even auto-attacking me. The next one from this rotation will be cast on top of me, and that's when he can follow me about auto-attacking me. The thing is if you see this one where he spawned it on top of me, that's where you need to be careful when you're standing on top of him. If he casts it on you, like he casts the big circle on me, and then I stand on top of him, and he does 2 auto attacks, we could probably showcase it right here actually, because I've pissed him around quite a bit. If he does 1 auto attack, 2 auto attack, and then he casts his, well, he casts that on himself, it is guaranteed to knock me down. It's kind of hard to explain. For the most part, if you can avoid standing on top of him, avoid standing on top of him. Because not only do I not take the damage every 1 of 2 times he's going to cast that, because he's going to cast it on me, not him, I just can avoid getting knocked down. Like, at no point do I have to get hit by any of these if I just say off to the side of him and just play it like a normal person. If you feel it's easier to do it like that, be my guest. But also, like, when he's going to cast it on himself here, like, I'll activate it quickly. This amount of time I have to space and give me, like, time for cooldowns and shit like that. It's like, what, that was probably like 7 seconds, some shit like that. It's a decent amount of time to just play for cooldowns. And, like, it's worth knowing. It's worth not standing on top of him and getting hit if I can make a big enough of a gap and avoid him hitting me at all for the next few seconds. But the bug where you get knocked down, in actual fact, like, it isn't even worth knowing why he does it. If I explain why he does it like I did, and I can show you how to activate it, it's not really that important to know anyway. It's really not. Just, a lot of people say stand on top of him. You can stand on top of him if you want to take the risk. But I ain't taking that risk. The amount of times I've done it, I've stood on top of him, I'm talking to Twitch chat, and I get knocked on my ass, and then somebody comes up. Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun. It's just a dumb mechanic that needs fixing. Don't know why it's bugged, but it's been like that for the longest time. I think, honestly, and this sounds like really crazy, but some situations where there are a lot of mobs and you're getting ganked are actually the best situations. If for some reason, and again, this is so goddamn specific, but if for some bizarre reason I'm getting dismounted here, for whatever reason that is, and I'm walking through here and I see, oh my god, there's loads of drones, okay? Behind me now, everybody is blocked. Everybody is blocked. I mean, this is going to hit me. Okay, no. Everybody's been blocked off by the drones, unless they're playing something specific, like, I don't know, like a dual sword, or they're playing on Shadow Edge or whatever. they ain't making it through. I'll even mention Amethyst because someone's probably sat there like, you didn't say Amethyst. What I'm trying to say is, right, heavy drones are actually, they've probably gotten me out of deaths more times than Undead Cape has. Which sounds crazy, but I've like ran away from full teams, ganking teams, 1v1s, 1v2s, whatever, purely because of heavy drones. They are like probably the most useful goddamn asset to a solo player in the roads. It's such a specific thing, but if you know it and you recognize it, it can save you so fucking often. The same with, and I'm kind of hoping I walk up on one within the next 2 seconds just to showcase it, but the stone mobs. The stone mobs have pretty much the exact same ability where if I can get through them, I can stand on the other side and they're blocking off everyone from getting to me. So unless they're ranged, they ain't touching me. If there's a mage, you got tornado pop, root, stun, whatever, like, yeah, it's massive. These mages, if you can get somebody stuck in this shit, I mean, wait, like, even though it's a tier 4 mage, if somebody gets stuck in this, it's gonna hurt. And in most cases as well, there's double mages, aren't there? There's like triple mages on some spots. There's double mages. Like, it's a stun and it's a fat amount of damage. If you, that's why, like I say to people, tornado pots, outnumbered fights, tornado pots, like, so useful. If you have a knock up, if you have a knock back, if you have a root, stun, and you're like struggling in a fight, but you're able to reset it, look for mages. Honestly, you'll always see me on stream. Look for the goddamn mages in a fight where I'm struggling with. To be fair, it might actually be pretty useful to recognize, right? I know this is a deep road connection. I know, and it's not like, once you play a lot of roads, you can kind of understand it, but I know that this is a deep road connection. I say deep road, it's kind of just a connection to a deep road, but I always just call it deep road connection. Everybody calls it deep road connection. I recognize it purely from the name. So I know once I get on the other side of this road, the only connection it's going to have is other roads. That's all it's going to be. And like, yeah. Hideout, another deep road connection. So from here, basically, this is now your tier 6 road. Means, you know, solo dungeon's going to be tier 6. Now, the thing is this is a weird one. Because, this one's annoying. Because there are gold chests on the map. It shouldn't be like this. But the mobs on the gathering spots are elite. Even though it should only be in tier 8 zones that the mobs are elite. Yeah, it's elite mobs. Unless, I mean, I'll hold my hand up and say at this point, there are certain maps that do and don't have it, but I'm pretty confident on this map specifically, it shouldn't be. I mean, we might not even see one anyway. Okay, well, it's dead. I punched it away. But the resource mobs are elite mobs, so they're not really that soloable. They're a little bit more difficult. Easiest way as well to know if you're going to a hideout zone is, I would say 85-90% of hideout zones have 2 hyphens in the name. See, Seten-Al-Nussis. I'm pretty sure the word's hyphen, right? Yeah. Secton-Arc-Odysseus. Like, always like that. But there is, and Paul would love to hear me say this, there are some exceptions. There are some exceptions that don't have that, and the reason why is not really worth knowing, because the road maps and their names don't correlate to anything anymore, so now it's just fully fucking random. It's not random, but it used to actually have a meaning. Now it's pointless to know. This is basically as well where more than likely, if there was going to be a deep road connection, or a tier 8 connection, this, or luckily the next map, is where you're going to find it. It will always be within one of a hideout or one of a deep road connection. The thing is, I don't expect anyone to know what the names of the deep road connections are. There's quite a few names. I think I mentioned them at the start. If I remembered all of them, it'd be great, but I don't remember all of them because they fucking change everything constantly. But this is basically where you're more than likely going to find a, or the last map is basically where you're going to find a tier 8 map. This one, we're going to be in Black Zone now because we've been from Royals through a deep road into the map that we're in currently, which is no longer Royals yet. The only way to access, for the most part, Black Zone and Red Zone roads from Royals or like any other type of road from where you are is through a deep road connection or a hideout. That's the only way. There is one exception, which again is just bad coding from Albion, and it's that some Blue Zone and Yellow Zone maps connect to Red Zone maps, which shouldn't be a thing. For the most part, Red Zone maps should be their own thing. Black Zone maps should be their own thing. Yellow Zone, Blue Zone maps should be their own thing. But yeah, for some reason, it's been like that for a while when they haven't done anything about it, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. Who cares? There's 2 of every road in the game, right? So that's, if something you didn't know, there's 2 of every road in the game. Besides hideouts. No, even hideout zones, I think they do. I don't actually know that one. But there's 2 of every single road in the game. The thing is that because the way the roads spawn, and there's a percentage chance that a road will spawn in a certain map, you can technically have that road and its connections spawn in the same map. Like you say, I could go out into wherever I am now. Where am I? Something marsh, Willowside Marsh, and I could have the exact same map, or its duplicate in that same map. Because it's a percent chance that it's going to spawn there, it's going to be a percent chance that the maps that it's going to be connected to, there is a chance that it can be the exact same map. It's, yeah, I don't know how important that is, but it's kind of worth knowing as well, right? If I'm looking to find a player, okay, obviously a road is going to have connections to other roads and other maps. But let's say, for example, I come in here, I see Exocrom. Somebody has come into Exocrom literally just now, within the last 30 seconds. I now have a target. If I was planning on doing PvP, and there's 2-3 more people that have just come into Exocrom, so I now have some targets to go with. When I look at these players now, I think, what the f is that build, is my first thought. I now know, by looking at the connections, okay, we have 4 people in this road without anyone leaving. The only way somebody's left is if they've gone back by using the free charge. Now I know, if one player leaves, then I know more than likely it's the player that I saw come in, that first charge that I saw. If I see, because I saw 2 charges, 3 charges after that, both go at once, I know that that's the team I'm looking for. I know these fucking idiots are standing down here doing this chest, and for some reason I'm going to try fight it, even though it's pretty much impossible for me to fight them. Well, it's going to be pretty possible if they aren't mounted. Did he just cultist sandaled me? Come here, little shit. But yeah, that's honestly easiest way of tracking players. I want to take out Grog because I want to give you a chance. I want your friend to come back. But he hasn't got Keeper Cape anymore. If he were to use Keeper Cape, is he ever going to stack at any point? No, we're just playing the old Guardian armor. Oh, yeah, I mean, you could travel back as well. Chances of that, pretty fucking unlikely. Or to be fair, I say pretty unlikely. Happens every fucking time I want it not to. When I'm tracking a player down and they go back, it's always great. Oh, I love that for me. I absolutely love that for me. Thank God. Yeah, it was a good time to walk into that. The only reason I'm even killing him is because I kind of want his helmet and his cape. I usually wouldn't. I'm a friendly individual. But I like your cape and I like your helmet. Do you reckon he's sad? I mean, I would be pretty sad if I was him, to be fair. I would. He played his stack so perfectly. Oh. Aggro it. Nice. God. I had to hit the heavy drone as well, just so he wouldn't go that way. There's a little bit technical, that one, I'll be honest. What boobs is this guy on? Oh my god, he's on frost shoes now. I love this for me. Yeah, that's gonna do it. That's the way to do it. Yeah, cultist. Wait, who's this now? Tomb Hammer, I love that. Wait a minute, there's another player. What's going on here? A nature out of nowhere. This is bloody brilliant. This is bloody brilliant. I kind of feel bad killing this guy. How has his keeper cape gone off now? I mean, it's kind of genius that he's used it. Kind of want the nature to come in. Nature would be fun. He is! Yay! Okay. How to fight nature. You always know they're going to engage with their W. No? Okay, what are you doing? Okay, well, how to fight nature. Wait for them to follow you. Good start. Let him take aggro on the mobs. No? Okay, we have a beginner player on our hands then, it looks like. Now he doesn't really have much, and I really don't have much. The moment he goes to Merc Jacket, we E through him. Now he gets no Merc Jacket. God, he's got a lot of fucking shield, isn't he? Holy shit. I have to walk into that, just take more damage. Yeah, beat up the Miss Cougar, love that. You know what? Big reason though. Have a food. We can just play it out. God, he is a fucking tanky boy. Holy shit. His Merc's about to come back up. If we can play time, great. If we can't, we're gonna have to take it. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Oh, that's awful. And that is why you play with heavy drones as well. I can actually walk up to him here, play healing pot, because I'm gonna heal like crazy. Need to just play for 8 seconds. And then I have my Merc now. Keep slowing this little shit. Nice. Honestly, you know what won that fight? Food. I didn't even outplay him. I played it so badly, but the fact that he kept trying to reset on me and he's playing like a healer. If I chase him but stay like somewhat off screen, then I can just play it like casually. I can regen. I can regen more than or even like equal to how much he's healing. So it kind of works. Hey, it's a sloppy fight, but the food works. Yeah, I literally cannot think of anything else that's actually genuinely relevant or important at this point. There's like a lot of different things that like, I mean, okay. A lot of people will even ask like what these mean. It's irrelevant. Don't even worry about it. It's just a visual thing. It's not, but it's a visual thing for the most part now. It's not important. You don't need to know about any of it. I've already explained like pathing on how to avoid gankers, what to look at. Like, for example, everyone knows these things are a speed boost. Everyone knows these arrows are a speed boost. So if somebody is running on that little muddy path, like south for me, I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come to the destination wherever the fuck you're coming out to way faster than you are. If somebody's running up like the main road and I'm running up this direction, not only do I have mobs to deal with to start, potentially get me fucking tagged, but there's no speed boost. So it's kind of down to you. But also a big thing is that me personally, when I'm trying to avoid players, I tend to avoid to go on the roads because I know the mobs are actually more helpful than they are anything. Like, you can technically, like, if there's somebody chasing, like, just the edge of my screen behind me here, if I aggro that might slow him down for a sec. Or if I put a poison there, that slowed the player down for a sec. It is kind of useful little things to know. But, like, obviously, if I'm trying to get to the safest exit at this point, there's only one way for me to go. Like, I wouldn't wrap all the way around the map. Like, it just, yeah, it's for the most part, I don't think it's that relevant because it's stuff that comes with playing over time. Most of the teams that are going to be chasing you, right? Most of the people that are going to be chasing you in Albion with the intent to kill you are either going to be on direwolf or like a bat. Basically, most of the time. You always have to kind of watch out for what's in front of you, obviously, because if I got a player behind me and he dismounts, then more than likely there's a player in front of me ready to catch me, but that comes with like playing Albion over time. But if we're talking about like mounts and stuff like that, tier 4 stag, tier 4 horse is fine. If you're going up to like 5'3", 6'3", you want moose for carry weight, because most of the time you're going to be doing a lot of PvE and roads. Moose or like potentially frost ram, potentially tier 6, tier 7 horse. When you're going like 8-1, 8-2, 8-3, gallant horse, frost ram, like it has to be either of those two. But I feel like at that point, you should know that. Never run a tier 3 horse in roads. You're never getting away on a tier 3 horse. Never run an ox on roads. Even if you're going out to gather, you ain't going to come back. I can solo dismount an ox. Great. Like, what's the point? Just because you got a lot of carry weight does not mean you're worth anything. They just take you out. These guys don't think they want to fight. They don't know if they want to fight. Now they see me low. Now they definitely want to fight. And I'm like, oh no, I can't believe it. I wait to de-aggro. And I'm now full health. And now it's too late. Now, that was a really bad move, I will admit. Because I am dead as fuck. Ah! Same thing again, though. This guy wants to chase. Wait, no, he doesn't want to chase. Maybe he doesn't want to chase. What's he doing? No, he's not interested in chasing. Oh, wait. Yeah, he is. He kind of is. I'm resetting now. I now have health. Reduce the damage, and we now pray. Got no boots left. Right, random... Okay, I was going to say random prediction. No, we are not predicting anything. Can I even catch this in time before he mounts? 5 seconds for boots. That's a frost shot. Oh, he's interrupted himself. Yay! I killed another 4.2 player. That's brilliant. That is why you always play with regen food. Congratulations. You learnt your lessons. That's why, I mean, okay, I was saying earlier, Merc could at like mid-tier level is so fucking useful. The only reason we win that fight is because of Merkwood. Generally, the damage reduction is so important. It's so important. The slow damage reduction and interrupt. There's so many goddamn uses for it in Rhodes. It's insane. I mean, it's kind of lucky that I did kill the nature staff and had it, but I was showcasing builds earlier that had Merkwood on it. Or I'd showcased a build and why you should use Merkwood. That's basically a reason. Okay, so I've showcased all the mobs that you're basically going to have to deal with as a solo player. In reality, the only ones that are important to know and you might want to come back to and look over and a little bit more information on it is the bosses. For the most part, if there is any questions that you guys have, because again, I've just kind of gone out on a limb here and I'm just doing it off the top of my head. I'm sure there is a lot once I'm editing this video that I'm going to remember and it's going to be too late. What I want to do now is once you guys have got this in place, I want to talk about the best maps for what you want to do. And I also want to talk about realistically, depending on what you want to do, the builds you should be using. So if we start out with builds, for example, let me, it's going to cut quickly. So for most players who are trying to get into Rhodes, I'm only going to showcase the builds for what I would use as like a beginner player. And it's currently this one, Druidic with the same armors and even offhand that we used before. Or if you're trying to get into more PvP as well, swap it out for a battle axe. Everything stays the same. You saw me showcase the build on mobs in tier 4. Obviously, you're not going to do as well as I am because I know the timings, I know everything that's going to happen, but it's the easiest and best ways to go about it. The only thing I would realistically change if you're finding you have an issue with energy is your boots in this situation. If you're struggling with energy, which will only realistically be on battle axe, you just take any cloth sandals and your life is now sorted. Same thing is going to apply though. You're going to either play with healing potions if you're playing lower tier like I am right now. If I could click properly, this would be great. And you're also going to have poisons in your backpack, nice and easy. The thing is once you're like a little bit more experienced, I expect you to kind of know what builds you want to run anyway. That's why I'm not going too in depth about it. If you want to know about specific builds, say if you like Death Givers and you want to know a build that will work on Death Givers in Rhodes, I'm not going to go through everything specifically. I'm not going to be replying to comments. If you want to know about that, come over to my Twitch, like I said earlier, and just ask me the question. I'll give you a simple answer. If you don't want to hang out, that's fine. I get it. I know there's a lot of ads over there. It's great for me because I get to chat to you guys from the YouTube, and I appreciate the hell out of it if you guys were able to come over there, but I'm not going to force you to do anything. And I can just give you a nice simple answer and you can go from there. Now, I think I briefly spoke about it earlier as well, but I'm kind of going to cover this in its entirety. If you're a solo player looking for PvP, PvE, and you're just starting out in Rhodes, your best bet is from whichever city you're going from to go to the 3 maps that surround it in Royals. So in this instance, in this case, Thetford, I'd either go Dustlight Fen, Willowside Marsh, or Windripple Fen. The most players are going to be going out from city, directly out of the city. What is that? What have I just seen? That skin is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. That is awful. What is that? Most players are going to be going directly out from cities, and that's where you're going to find the most players in literally the map surrounding it. If you don't want to find as much PvP, but you're still looking to find PvE, you would go a little bit further out in Blue Zone and Yellow Zone. Granted, the roads are going to have connections that are going to connect everything to everything anyway, for the most part. I've spoke to SBI about this before. I wish every road connected to another in one way or another, but you do come across dead ends, you do come across random shit. But you also have to understand that if I get a map in Willowside Marsh, it could also be a map in Fellinks Hill for some reason. You can have those sorts of connections. If I'm looking to make money as a solo player, my best bet always is to up what you gear you're wearing to 4.3, maybe 5.2, maybe 5.3, just for that extra little edge. but understand what you go in with in roads, it is the riskiest endgame content you can possibly do. Roads in reality are a death trap for solo players because the PvE is harder, because the PvP is harder. It's where the most experienced players end up. But if you are interested in getting into it and you are looking to just simply make money, red zone roads is the best place. Go to the closest red zone. There's only about 16 different red zone road maps, and while it is a smaller location, they're a lot deader than other locations, and the chests pay way more. And the reason why I say that over going into black zone, and you know, there's way more roads out here, sure, the problem with this is that this is where the most competent and annoying small scale and ganking teams are going to be coming. This is where the players are going to be that are going to specifically jump you on green chests just because you're a solo player and they have nothing else to do as a 7-man team because it's roads and they've been running around for ages and haven't found another player. The reason why it doesn't happen as much in red zone is because there's only green chests and only gathering spots. Realistically, small scale teams and ganking teams aren't looking for specifically solo players, and if you can keep your costs down anyway, what do you lose? In red zone roads, you're basically only going to be giving away 400 to maybe $1 million build, and each chest is going to make you about 500k anyway if you're taking the worthy chests, you know, medium large chests. If again you're looking for solo gathering, red zone roads do have every gathering spot there is, but the black zone is technically better because there is a wider variety of maps with more gathering. I think for the most part though, I've covered everything that's important. Again, I'm sure I'm going to miss something out and it's going to piss me off, but at the end of the day, like, I'm just doing this, what's on the top of my head right now, and I'm just figuring it out as I go, as I was on stream, answering questions while I was on stream. Hopefully this is something that's helpful to you guys in general. Again, if you are able to hype up the video, would be insanely helpful for me. Once you go down, I think it might only be a mobile feature, but underneath the video where you can see like, dislike, share, save, all that type of things, there should also be a hype button. If you hype that up, put as many points into it as you can if this was helpful for you, and it really helps me like know what you guys want and what it is you expect from me in the future, because I don't usually do guides. I do more funny moments and shit like that. I don't know. I do highlights. I don't even know what I do anymore.